Damon Lindelof, Carlton Cuse, Lost is back at the Emmys this year. You've had a rocky ride through the years, but this year was really triumphant because you also got Matthew Fox in there, Elizabeth Mitchell, and plus the boys who've won before, Michael Emerson and Terry O'Quinn. Wow.
Yeah, really exciting. I mean, as far as drama series go, we're batting 500, which is, you know, not bad if you're a professional baseball player. But the acting noms, to get 4 of them, especially new ones for Matthew and Elizabeth, who, you know, she was probably only in less than half an hour of screen time for the season. But for guest actress, her impact was felt throughout. So we're just really thrilled for both those actors.
Your heart had to be in your throat a little bit when nominations came out, right? Because you've had a rocky ride.
Absolutely. I mean, we did not get nominated the second year, which we think was one of the best seasons of the show. So we did not take it for granted at all. And, you know, particularly we knew that the way that the show ended wasn't going to be for everybody. But, you know, a lot of people were really happy, and the fact that we got 12 nominations seemed to, you know, was incredibly vindicating for us. I mean, we were really gratified. It really, I think, signaled to us that a lot of Emmy voters liked the series in its totality.
Let's talk about the snub year 2, because this was right after winning Best Drama Series. And we all know, the critics there was a consensus that the show was superb its second season. It didn't happen, of course, because that year they had changed the voting, and you had to come up with a strategic single episode to submit, and you probably made the wrong choice. But the point is that there is... And it must be very frustrating for you guys as producers to play this game, because it's not like the Oscars where if they vote for you, fine. Here there's strategic thinking, what episodes to submit. It's a challenge, isn't it?
It's an incredible challenge, because especially in a show like Lost, in the early seasons we were doing 24, 25 episodes a year. Now we've been doing more like 18. But to pick a single 42-minute installment of Lost and show it to somebody who's never seen the show before and expect them to assess, the quality of the show without being wildly confused, it's hard enough for regular viewers of the show to keep it straight. So that adds an entirely new level of stress. But we started putting that aside and saying, we believe we're writing an emotional, character-driven show, so let's try to pick the episodes that tell that story the best, and you don't get stuck with the smoke monster and the polar bear of it all. When we turned our strategy around, we seem to have done a little bit better in seasons 5 and season 6.
And so how did you pick the 6 episodes that for Best Drama Series now?
We did the best we could at trying to kind of pair 3 discs of 2 episodes to go to all these separate panels. I mean, it's a complicated process.
But you really anguished. You really paid attention to the process with this, right?
Yeah, I mean, we pulled some of the other executive producers into Carlton's office, and we all sort of kicked around. We said, maybe we should do this, and they said, maybe you should do that. And it was a lot like, this is all good food, but we have to do the wine pairings now. So which are the 2 episodes that fit together best? And,
but you did it before and it worked. That you won the first year. How did you get it right the first year?
We're not entirely sure. I mean, when the pilot's in there, that's the introduction to the show. So
yeah, I think it was a lot easier the first year because it was it was easier to understand the show. By necessity, a show that lasts for 121 hours is going to get complicated. People say, "Well, I like Lost, but why does it have to be so complex?" Well, to sustain storytelling for 121 hours, it must get complex. Otherwise, the stories themselves would be boring. So there was no way to kind of do both those things, have a show that lasted for 6 years and not have it get complex. We tried to pick episodes that just were emotional, that to us and to the other executive producers, we felt, gave you a sort of a visceral emotional reaction, and that was the best we could do.
Now, other serialized shows like The Sopranos won in their final season. A lot of people are saying, real Emmy watchers, that you have a really good chance to win this. That would be the crowning glory, wouldn't it? Because let's talk about the finale. A lot of people loved the finale, and a lot of people had said, "Oh, you didn't answer all the questions, etc." To be able to, first of all, let's get your reaction to that. What your reaction to the reaction in general to the finale?
A couple years ago, The Sopranos finale aired, and Carlton and I both loved it. We thought it was brilliant, and the next day we started going out in the world, and there was a very large portion of people who thought it wasn't brilliant. That in fact it was a cop out to cut to black, and we looked at each other and said, "We're completely hosed," because this, a show that people care this much about, it's almost like there's going to be divided camps that sort of come with the territory, and we started saying even before it aired, we know that some people are going going to love it. We know that some people are going to hate it. But what we hope is no one's ambivalent about it. Meh is kind of the worst reaction that we could possibly get to the finale. It certainly hurts when people say you ruined 6 years of my life. But that's sort of weighed out by, hey, I watched your finale and I actually cried, or I had some sort of revelatory experience, or I was still thinking about it a week later. So you can't please everybody all the time, but
But in general, the reaction was wonderful. It was you almost went in there being set up for defeat, and in general, you came out really well.
Well, we were really gratified. I mean, the bar was really high for the finale, and we feel like we got over it. And I think Lost was a really meaningful show for people for 6 years, and it broke a lot of ground in television. And we hope that we will have one more chance to kind of succeed at the Emmys before we fade off into the like old soldiers.
But you're not fading off completely. Everybody wants to know about this 12-minute add-on for the DVD. How many questions will be answered there? What can you tell us?
One thing we anticipated was that as a result of the finale being much more character-centric and emotional, that some of your questions that we really love writing might not get addressed. Clear up some issues for fans. So if you're scratching your head about certain issues, maybe regarding the polar bear or other indigenous life on the island, and a couple lingering questions about the fate of the Dharma Initiative, we put a little 10-minute long
Plus we'll get to see
extra chapter on the DVD.
Plus you'll get to see a couple of your favorite characters make one final appearance. I mean, we just thought it was kind of a nice thing to do, that it would just be to give the audience sort of one final epilogue of to the show.
Well,
addendum. I think it's really an addendum. It's not really an epilogue.
When does it come out?
The DVD comes out at the end of August.
Right.
Okay. Well, right at Emmy time.
Hey, fancy that.
Good luck with both. Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
so
Tom.
much, Tom.